On the surface, RTI sounds so logical, and it is. That's one of the advantages to an RTI logic or framework is the appeal that it brings. It brings us as educators back to our roots. It talks about the importance of quality instruction, about the use of high quality materials, and the value of ongoing assessment and adjusting what we're doing in instruction. And it is because of the appeal of that message that there's been so much attention given to RTI. However, the schools that are most successful in implementing RTI are ones that have been able to bring together a lot of moving parts. RTI is dependent upon the support of an administrator or several administrators. It requires data decision teams coming together to review what is happening with targeted students. It requires teachers assuming different roles and playing things out in different ways. And as a result, because it is a large, potentially complex dynamic across a school, not just within a given school classroom, the challenge ramps up considerably. And that's what we really need to tend to. As I have observed programs across the country, I found these components to, at a minimum, to be necessary. First of all, a strong commitment to ongoing high-quality professional development, because teachers are moving quite a bit within schools. We have to account for new teachers coming on board. Secondly, RTI, because it is complex, teachers require ongoing professional development. Secondly, it's essential that administrators within a school building understand the important role that they can play in creating the conditions that enable teachers to be successful. And this means aligning the resources, making certain that student-teacher ratios are favorable for this kind of support to be provided to students, and for them to play an active role in being present in classrooms and being present in leading instructional discussions within school buildings around issues of instruction. Another condition central to successful RTI implementation is the fact that roles of teachers and staff within a building are going to change. Teachers are no longer going to be doing the same things that they were always doing, and they're going to be expected to assume some new responsibilities. For example, ongoing progress monitoring, configuring their instruction so they can provide more intensive intervention to students who might need it at a level 2 tier. Another factor is to recognize that the role of teachers and other staff within a building are going to be redefined somewhat. For example, classroom teachers are now going to be expected to engage in regular progress monitoring. They're going to have to acquire some additional skills on how to provide Tier 2 interventions to students within the context of the general education classroom. Now, these kinds of expectations not only redefine a role, but they require an accumulation of some new skills. And when these new duties are assumed, of course, some other things are going to have to be reduced. And how that happens needs to be negotiated and thought through and worked through within each school building, but it is a very important thing that needs to be addressed. Another component that is important to be considered is that of time. That is, teachers need to be given time to make sense of this new system that their school is embracing. And often this notion of time to make sense of is minimized or ignored altogether. And we need to recognize that teachers prior to RTI had a full day, a full mindset of how they were approaching the instructional process. And RTI represents a new paradigm, a new framework. And if that is going to be embraced, certain things need to be turned away from. And oftentimes there's some emotion attached to that, and it takes time to make that accommodation and adjustment. Interestingly, many times administrators spend weeks and months debating and considering, should we adopt a new model? And then once they make that decision, they expect it to happen overnight. And they don't give those on the front lines opportunity to make sense of and think through the implications as much as they have had. A final condition is that teachers have a voice in what is happening. By having a voice, I mean they have an opportunity to raise questions, and it's important that they have an opportunity to engage in meaningful dialogue with colleagues, with administrators, and to really think through what is this going to require of me, and how might I make these accommodations and adjustments so that I can be successful and that we can be successful as a school staff. Teachers want that to happen. If we afford teachers the opportunity to raise questions, once they get the answers, they make things happen.